We've all heard it. Comparison is the thief of joy by Theodore Roosevelt. Now, he was a president quite some time ago. So, comparison's been around for a while. Maybe as long as competition has, because competition is one of the things that breeds comparison. You know, if you feel dejected and insignificant, or maybe you feel superior and self-important, it's because you're comparing. Are you on the ladder? Which rung are you on? Are there people above you? Are there some people below you? You, my friend, are stuck in the comparison trap. This is a trap. I don't know. I certainly am prey to this trap, comparing myself with others. It starts early, real early. You know, we put our kids in sports and they're, compared to whether they can play football or basketball or this one or that one, or in school, what scores do they get? And we're measured and we're, it's like we're compared. We're compared by others, to others, and then we start comparing ourselves. And this is where it becomes a trap. Comparison. Competition. It comes from competition. And if you're real competitive, you're going to be more comparative. Keeping up with the Joneses. Who are the Joneses anyway? Let's win the rat race. Well, if you do, it just makes you a rat. We're human beings. And we have the conscious nature to decide if we are going to fall into this trap. Now, maybe you've gotten better at this as you've gotten older. I certainly did. And with social media and all of the instant gratification and get rich quick and let's succeed, and hey, I got 4,000 subscribers in a day, and we start comparing. I mean, it's a natural thing. So I want to talk about comparison triggers. We have some triggers that will trigger this stuff. And so there's internal triggers. Internal triggers are when something happens, you feel insecure, less than, maybe a big success, or, and then you start, see, I did that, and you didn't, and it can be so maladaptive. And if you want to have a joyful life, you have to look at who or where are you comparing yourself. Then there's external triggers for comparison. Maybe you see this other person succeeds, and then all of a sudden envy crops up, and you're like, man, I should have come up with that idea. Or just the comparison. Somebody loses 20 pounds and they show up and it's like, whoa, you look great. And the inside I'm saying, I need to lose 20 pounds. and that envious of other people's achievements, of other people's abilities, of other people's talents. I think as humans, we're all given gifts. And it's how we use those gifts. It's kind of the spiritual realm of we're given these gifts. And if I am in negative self-talk, insecurities, and all of that stuff, my gifts are run on ego. But if I can stay tapped into my soul and who I am and my gifts through God's favor and God's anointing, then my gifts are a powerhouse. But then we have talents. Talents are those things like singing, acting. Maybe some people have a real talent with numbers. Not me. And I would compare myself to people that seem to have those talents or those abilities, or they seemed so self-assured. And I was, because of programming and trauma in my childhood and some things, my self-esteem was really shot. And I always came up lacking. And I would compare. And I was raised back in the day, there wasn't any social media. But there were magazines. And I worked in a salon. And in the salon, there's a bunch of magazines. And those models were skinny and beautiful. And it just seemed like they just had it all. Or, this famous singer. And they had the perfect body and the beautiful voice and the hair and of course I didn't have any of that. I couldn't sing worth a flip. I'm a little apple-shaped person. They were always tall and slim. Oh, I'm 5 foot tall. So all of that was stuff I couldn't change. And when I began on my journey of building a relationship with myself, when I began to recover from some of that past stuff, I had to challenge these beliefs. And I had to come up with, what are my talents? And I was a good hairdresser. I had a bang-up business, salon, booming. I had all of those things. And so those are things that you have to look at. And the external triggers. I can be triggered today. Bam. We'll talk about the last trigger, society. Societal expectations can trigger comparison. And you go inward and you say, I should be further along in my life by now. I'm in my 30s, I'm not married, no kids, I don't have a career. Or what about that, the societal expectations that you go to school, you graduate, you go to college, you get a college degree, you get a job, you work till you retire, you have your 401k, your retirement, you retire, you enjoy life, the American dream. If that's right for you, we can take on those societal expectations. College is not for everybody. Neither are some of the other things. They're just, you have to find what is uniquely you. And those triggers can set off the comparison trap, and I'm going to come up lacking. When I got into recovery, one of the things that I discovered a talent I had was public speaking. I would have never, I was the wallflower. I just kind of wanted to blend in and nobody noticed me. Yet secretly inside, I wanted to be seen. And through a series of events, I started speaking at these little conferences. And that grew. I was a natural orator. I could communicate. I even today, I still, right before I speak, I get nervous. But then I also know that I have to tap into a power greater than myself to be able to do that. But it's still a natural ability. So, how do you overcome the comparison trap? First, you have to change your mindset about it. Use your envy of that other person's success to peg into that is what you want, and then to go for it. What some people have as abilities, you don't have. But you have abilities that other people don't have. I found out through the years there were people that were envious of me. when I was envious of all those other people. They were envious of me, and that me comparing how I felt on the inside with those people on the outside. So you have to, number 2, focus on your strengths. You have strengths. You also have weaknesses. You got to know them too. So you build the strengths and you learn or do what you can with your weak areas. It's just like on here, technology. It's a weak spot for me. I've learned, it's slow, but I've learned how to do things. I can figure it out. I've also, at times, I've hired someone to do some things for me in the area of technology. So that's just part of what I've learned, is those abilities. I also tell myself, if they can do it, I can do it. I may get there in a different manner, but I can get there. And just changing that mindset, focusing on my strengths, and then move in that direction. And try not to compare myself. And I can be plugging along, doing really well, and something happens and it pegs that trigger, Society expectations. I'm an older woman. Am I supposed to have short hair? Where does that come from? Who says? That is not for me. I have nice hair. It does well. I like it longer. It's easier to care for. So for me, that societal expectation is out the window. I'm having trouble with that. I don't. I think about looking at the other person and it looks like the grass is greener. I have to remember, if the grass is greener, the water bill's going to be higher. And so, if I want greener grass, then I'm going to have to water my grass, and that means my water bill is going to be higher. So there are sacrifices sometimes that have to be made to achieve maybe what we're looking at them and being envious of. You can use comparison to help you know what you want, to know what direction you want to go in. You can use comparison to change things in your life internally, and then it will change your external life. Comparison can be a positive thing if you use it. It's relative, like, the law of relativity. It's all in how you do with what happens. You can think it's negative or you can think it's positive, but it's how you consume that and how you process that through your perspective and your mindset. The main thing is, I want you to take away from this is that you can use comparison in a positive manner. And you can tap into the fact that you are a unique individual. We are not like the Borg, a part of a collective to where everyone has to fit in and everyone has to do the same thing. We are all unique. We are all individuals. We all have talents. And I remind myself that, and if I'm working with a group of people and this little thing crops up, I have to remind myself that there is strength in diversity, and what I bring to the table will complement what someone else brings to the table. I still compare myself, and it's easy being on YouTube to compare yourself with others, to look at social media and think, they have the perfect life. But I am comparing my insides with the way someone looks on the outside. I am comparing my beginning with someone else's 10-year journey. I don't know what they went through. It may look like that they, bam, success in one day. But I don't know all of the behind the scenes. So, I hope you got something out of this today. And if you like what I share here, please hit subscribe and like. Share this with someone you might know needs to hear it. I do one-on-one coaching. I have a website. I have some ebooks for sale. You can go check that out. There's also a free self-esteem analysis. If you go to my website, I'll put the link below. And remember, the most important thing is to be you on purpose.